What if I told you there is a simple 10-second test you can do right now at home with no equipment, no blood work, and no doctor visit that can tell you more about how long you're going to live than your blood pressure ever could? Sounds hard to believe, right? But this is not some internet gimmick. This is backed by one of the largest medical studies ever conducted, tracking nearly 140,000 people across 17 countries. And the test is so simple that it literally comes down to how hard you can squeeze your hand. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what your score means, where you stand compared to other men your age, and most importantly, what you can do starting today to change your number and potentially add years to your life. This is Healthy Aging, and today we're talking about grip strength, the most underrated health marker that almost nobody is paying attention to. Section 1, why doctors are now looking at your hands. Gentlemen, let me ask you something. When was the last time your doctor checked your grip? Probably never, right? They check your blood pressure, they check your cholesterol, they listen to your heart. But your hands? Almost never. And that is a massive oversight, because the research now tells us something extraordinary. Grip strength is one of the most powerful predictors of all-cause mortality, outperforming many conventional risk factors. Now, let me break that down in plain English. All-cause mortality simply means death from any cause, whether that is heart disease, stroke, cancer, respiratory illness, or anything else. And what the science is saying is that the strength in your hands gives doctors a better window into your overall health than many of the tests you're already getting. Grip dynamometer scores capture more than hand strength. They reflect total body muscle quality, neuromuscular integrity, and systemic inflammation levels. So when you squeeze a device called a hand dynamometer, you're not just testing your fingers and forearms. You are giving a snapshot of your entire body, your nervous system, your muscles from head to toe, and even the level of hidden inflammation running through your system. A new study published in 2026 suggests that muscle strength, particularly grip strength, is associated with longevity and could offer a practical screening tool for aging-related risk. This is not old news. This is fresh, current research confirming what scientists have been building towards for years. Your hands are trying to tell you something about your future, and most men are simply not listening. Section 2. The landmark study that changed everything. Now let me tell you about the study that really put grip strength on the map, because the numbers are staggering. The PURE study, which stands for the Prospective Urban-Rural Epidemiology Study, was a massive study across 17 countries that enrolled 139,691 adults aged 35 to 70 and followed them for nearly 4 years. This was not a small trial in one hospital, and this was a global effort, one of the biggest of its kind. And what did they find? Each 5-kilogram decrease in grip strength increased all-cause mortality risk by 17%. Let that sink in for a moment. A drop of just 5 kilograms in your grip, which is roughly 11 pounds, was linked to a 17% higher risk of dying from any cause during the study period. And here is what really shocked the medical world. Grip strength was a stronger predictor of cardiovascular events than systolic blood pressure. Your blood pressure, the number that every doctor checks at every single appointment, was actually less reliable at predicting heart attacks and strokes than how hard you could squeeze your hand. That is extraordinary. That is the kind of finding that should change the way we think about health screenings entirely. Weak grip correlates with higher rates of cardiovascular disease, respiratory illness, cancer mortality, and disability. So this is not just about your heart. A weak grip is connected to a higher risk of lung disease, certain cancers, and the kind of physical disability that robs you of your independence as you get older. Section 3, the 2026 research that confirmed it all. Now, some of you might be thinking, all right, that PURE study was done a while back. What about now? What does the latest science say? Well, I'm glad you asked, because the newest research from 2026 is even more convincing. Researchers at the University at Buffalo, publishing in JAMA, followed more than 5,000 women ages 63 to 99 over an 8-year period. Every 7 kilogram, which is about 15 pound, increase in grip strength was tied to a 12% drop in overall mortality risk. Think about that. A 12% lower risk of dying for every 15 pounds of grip you gain. That is not a medication. That is not a surgical procedure. That is something you can improve by training your hands and your body. The findings held after researchers adjusted for physical activity, heart health, and body inflammation. Even women who did not meet standard weekly cardiovascular exercise guidelines lived significantly longer if they maintained strong muscles. This part is crucial, especially for those of you who might have mobility issues or find it difficult to go for long walks or do traditional exercise. Even if you're not hitting your recommended amount of cardio, having stronger muscles still made a significant difference to survival. That is incredibly encouraging news. A UK biobank analysis of 502,628 participants ages 40 to 69 found lower grip strength strongly associated with cardiovascular disease, respiratory disease, several cancers, and all-cause mortality. 500,000 people. The results were the same. Weaker grip, higher risk. Stronger grip, lower risk. The evidence is now overwhelming, and it is consistent across multiple countries, age groups, and populations. Section 4. Why grip strength matters more as you age. Now here is something really important to understand. Grip strength does not predict health equally at every age. It actually becomes a more powerful indicator the older you get. The reason grip strength is a less powerful predictor of longevity in younger people compared to older age groups is because most young people are near the upper end of physiological performance. Differences in young people's health are relatively small compared to the noise introduced by measurement error or random variation. As people age, however, their health varies much more, while the sources of error remain roughly the same. Consequently, this higher signal-to-noise ratio results in a much stronger relationship between grip strength and health in later life. In simple terms, when you are young, almost everyone is relatively strong and healthy, so grip strength does not separate people as clearly. But after 60, the gap between those who have maintained their strength and those who have not becomes enormous. And that gap shows up in who stays independent, who avoids hospital, and ultimately who lives longer. But after 60, the gap between those who have maintained their strength and those who have not becomes enormous. And that gap shows up in who stays independent, who avoids hospital, and ultimately who lives longer. The practical reading is that grip strength holds up through midlife and then declines meaningfully from around 60. Men lose roughly 25 pounds of average grip between their early 50s and their early 70s. 25 pounds of grip strength gone in just 20 years. That is a dramatic drop. And for many men, it happens so gradually that they do not even notice until they struggle to open a jar, carry a bag of shopping, or grip a handrail on the stairs. Men lose roughly 25 pounds of average grip between their early 50s and their early 70s. 25 pounds of grip strength gone in just 20 years. That is a dramatic drop. And for many men, it happens so gradually that they do not even notice until they struggle to open a jar, carry a bag of shopping, or grip a handrail on the stairs. Section 5. What is normal for your age? Right, so now you are probably wondering, where do I stand? What is a normal grip strength for a man over 60? Let me give you the numbers so you know exactly what to aim for. A 60-year-old man averaging 32 to 42 kilograms, which is roughly 71 to 94 pounds, is perfectly normal. That is your baseline. If you are in that range, you're in decent shape. If you're above it, excellent. If you're below it, do not panic, because we are going to talk about exactly how to bring those numbers up. Grip strength in men typically peaks between ages 25 and 35, with average scores in the 40 to 57 kilogram range for the dominant hand. Decline accelerates noticeably after age 50, with the most rapid losses occurring in the 7th and 8th decades of life in the absence of resistance training. Now here is a critical number to know. The EWGSOP2 clinical cut points set the threshold at 27 kilograms for men, which is about 60 pounds. Below that level, further muscle health assessment is recommended, that is roughly 60 pounds. If your grip falls below that level, it is considered a red flag for something called sarcopenia, which is the medical term for age-related muscle loss. And sarcopenia is not just about looking weaker. It is linked to falls, fractures, loss of independence, longer hospital stays, and yes, earlier death. That is roughly 60 pounds. If your grip falls below that level, it is considered a red flag for something called sarcopenia, which is the medical term for age-related muscle loss. And sarcopenia is not just about looking weaker. It is linked to falls, fractures, loss of independence, longer hospital stays, and yes, earlier death. So let me put it bluntly. If you are a man over 60 and your grip strength is below 27 kilograms, you need to take action. And even if you are above it, the higher you can push that number, the better your outlook becomes. Section 6. The home test you can do right now. Now, I know most of you do not have a hand dynamometer sitting in your kitchen drawer, so let me give you a practical way to gauge where you stand right now. First, the towel wringing test. Take a thick bath towel and soak it in water. Now wring it out as hard as you possibly can with both hands. If you can squeeze most of the water out with good force and without your hands cramping up within seconds, your grip is in a reasonable range. If you struggle to get much water out at all, or your hands fatigue almost immediately, that is a warning sign. Second, the shopping bag test. Can you comfortably carry 2 full bags of shopping from your car to your kitchen without needing to stop and rest your hands? If those bags feel like they are slipping and your fingers are giving out, your grip needs work. Third, the jar test. This one is simple. Can you open a new sealed jar without any assistance or a rubber grip? If sealed jars have become your enemy, your grip strength has likely dropped below where it should be. These are not scientific measurements, but they give you a practical, honest picture of where you are right now. And if you want to get precise, you can buy a hand dynamometer online for about 15 to 20 pounds. They are simple devices. You squeeze them and they give you a reading in kilograms. It is the same tool many doctors and physiotherapists use. Section 7, why your grip is declining and what is actually happening inside your body. So why does grip strength drop as you age? It is not just one thing. There are several factors working together, and understanding them is the first step to fighting back. Aging is typically associated with a progressive loss of skeletal muscle mass in combination with a concomitant increase in body fat mass. The decline in skeletal muscle mass, defined as sarcopenia, occurs at a rate of 3 to 8% each decade after the age of 30 years and has been linked to increased morbidity and mortality in older people. So your muscles have been slowly shrinking since your 30s. For most of your life, this loss was so small you never noticed. But once you pass 60, the rate of loss accelerates and it starts showing up in everyday tasks. Vitamin D receptors are expressed in skeletal muscle, and deficiency is associated with impaired muscle fiber function, reduced physical performance, and increased fall risk independent of age. Low 25-OH vitamin D is one of the more modifiable contributors to suboptimal grip strength and physical function in men. Vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common in older adults, especially those who spend less time outdoors, and it directly affects how well your muscles work. This is something your doctor can test with a simple blood test, and it is one of the easiest things to fix. Protein intake is especially important because protein helps repair and maintain muscle tissue. Seniors should aim to include protein sources such as lean meats, fish, eggs, beans, dairy, and nuts throughout the day to support muscle strength and recovery. Many men over 60 are simply not eating enough protein. Their muscles are breaking down faster than they are being rebuilt, and without adequate protein, no amount of exercise will fully close that gap. You need both. Vitamin D also plays a vital role in muscle function. Low vitamin D levels are common in older adults and can contribute to muscle weakness. Getting adequate sunlight and eating foods like fortified dairy products, fatty fish, and eggs can help support healthy vitamin D levels. Magnesium is another important nutrient for muscle performance. So we are looking at a combination of natural muscle loss, nutritional gaps particularly in protein, vitamin D, and magnesium, reduced physical activity, and changes in nerve function that all contribute to declining grip. The good news is that every single one of these factors can be addressed. Section 8, how to rebuild and strengthen your grip starting today. All right, this is the part you have been waiting for. What can you actually do about it? And I want to be very clear here, you do not need a gym membership. You do not need expensive equipment. You do not need to be in great shape already. You just need consistency and a few minutes each day. Exercise 1, the tennis ball squeeze. One of the simplest and most effective grip strengthening exercises at home involves nothing more than a stress ball or tennis ball. The slow, sustained squeeze builds the crushing strength you rely on for gripping railings, opening bottles, and carrying bags. Hold the ball in your palm and apply slow, steady pressure. Squeeze and hold for 10 seconds, then release. Switch hands and repeat 10 to 15 times per hand, once daily. This is your foundation exercise. It is gentle enough for anyone to start with and effective enough to make a real difference within weeks. Exercise 2, the towel ring. Take a hand towel or face cloth, roll it up, and grip both ends. Now twist in opposite directions as hard as you can for 5 seconds. Then reverse the direction. Do this 10 times in each direction. This works your grip in a rotational way that mimics many real-world tasks like wringing out a cloth, turning a door handle, or opening a stubborn lid. Exercise 3, finger presses. Match your fingers up so thumbs and fingers on each hand are touching their counterparts. Gently press fingers into each other, then relax. Press all fingers together or take turns pressing one at a time, then relaxing. This exercise works the individual muscles in each finger and improves the fine motor control that keeps your hands dexterous and capable. Exercise 4, wrist curls. Holding a weight, place your forearm on a table or your leg. Keep your forearm still and bend your wrist to lift the weight up. Repeat, then turn your hand over and bend your wrist up in the opposite direction. You can use a light dumbbell, a tin of beans, or even a full water bottle. The key is to start light and focus on slow, controlled movements. Your wrist strength is directly connected to your grip, and strengthening it supports everything else. Exercise 5, the dead hang, for those who are able. If you have access to a sturdy bar, even a door frame pull-up bar, simply hanging from it with both hands for as long as you can is one of the most effective grip builders there is. Start with just 5 to 10 seconds and build up over time. If you cannot hang from a bar, you can get a similar benefit by gripping a thick railing or the back of a sturdy chair and leaning your body weight slightly away from it. Start slower than you think you need to. Your tendons and ligaments take longer to strengthen than your muscles, especially as you age. If something hurts beyond normal muscle fatigue, stop. Pain is your body's warning system, not something to push through. This is critical advice. Do not rush. Your muscles will respond faster than your tendons and ligaments, so build gradually and listen to your body. The key is performing simple hand and forearm exercises several times per week. Progress may vary depending on overall health, existing conditions like arthritis, and how regularly the exercises are performed. Aim for at least 3 to 4 days per week. Consistency matters far more than intensity. 5 minutes a day, done regularly, will outperform 30 minutes done once a month every single time. Section 9, nutrition that supports your grip and your muscles. Exercise alone is not enough. You need to fuel your muscles properly, and for men over 60, there are 3 nutrients that deserve special attention. First, protein. This is the building block of muscle. As you age, your body becomes less efficient at using the protein you eat, which means you actually need more of it, not less. Aim for a source of protein at every meal. Eggs at breakfast, chicken or fish at lunch, beans or lentils at dinner. Spread it throughout the day rather than having it all in one sitting, because your body can only use so much at once. Second, vitamin D. As we discussed earlier, low vitamin D is extremely common in older adults and directly weakens your muscles. If you are not getting regular sunlight, and let us be honest, many of us are not, talk to your doctor about supplementation. A simple blood test can tell you where you stand. Third, magnesium. This mineral is involved in muscle contraction and relaxation. Without enough of it, your muscles cramp more easily, fatigue faster, and recover more slowly. Good food sources include nuts, seeds, dark leafy greens, whole grains, and dark chocolate. Yes, you read that right. A small square of dark chocolate is actually good for your muscles. Section 10. What the research tells us about recovery and improvement. Now I know some of you are sitting there thinking, is it too late for me? I'm already 70. I'm already 80. Can I actually improve my grip at this age? The answer is a resounding yes. Higher baseline grip strength and 5-year increase in grip strength were protective of mortality, whilst grip strength decline was associated with an increased risk of mortality in the very old, over 9.6 years, especially in women. This study specifically looked at people aged 85 and over, and it found that those who managed to increase their grip strength over time had a lower risk of dying than those who let it continue declining. It is never too late. Your body still responds to training at any age. The gains might come slower than they did at 30, but they still come. You can get stronger at any age. That is not a motivational slogan. That is what the evidence tells us. Your muscles retain the ability to grow and adapt throughout your entire life, as long as you give them a reason to. Section 11. Beyond grip, what your hands are really telling you. I want to leave you with a broader perspective, because this is about so much more than just squeezing a device and getting a number. Grip strength has emerged as one of the most robust biomarkers in longevity science, consistently predicting all-cause mortality, cardiovascular events, functional decline, and cognitive deterioration across dozens of large epidemiological studies and multiple continents. What makes grip strength particularly interesting from a longevity medicine perspective is that it simultaneously functions as a diagnostic tool revealing your current health trajectory, a motivational target, something you can meaningfully improve, and a functional outcome, something that directly affects quality of life. Your grip strength is a mirror of your overall health. It tells you about your muscles, your nutrition, your nervous system, your inflammation levels, and your biological age. It is one of the few health markers that is both a warning signal and a solution, because unlike your blood pressure or your cholesterol, you can feel your grip changing in real time and you can actively work to improve it. Poor grip strength in older people increases the risk of mental illness and contributes to cognitive decline, which reduces their intrinsic ability. So it is not just about physical health. A weaker body is linked to a weaker mind. Maintaining your strength helps protect your brain as well, reducing the risk of cognitive decline and supporting your mental well-being as you age. So let me sum this up for you. Your grip strength is one of the most powerful, most accessible, and most overlooked health markers available to you. It predicts your risk of heart disease, your risk of disability, and yes, how long you're likely to live. The good news is that it is completely within your control. A tennis ball, a towel, a few minutes a day, and the right nutrition can genuinely change your trajectory. I'm not here to scare you. I'm here to empower you. Because knowing this information puts you ahead of 90% of men your age who have never even heard of grip strength as a health marker. And now that you know, you have no excuse not to act on it. Now I want to hear from you, because this community is what makes healthy aging special. I have got 3 questions, and I want you to answer honestly in the comments below. Question 1. Have you ever had your grip strength tested by a doctor or physiotherapist? If yes, what was your score and were you surprised by it? Question 2. Which of the 5 exercises I shared today are you going to start with this week? Let me know and I will check in on your progress. Question 3. Can you still open jars, carry shopping bags, and grip handrails without struggling? Be honest, because admitting where you are is the first step to getting better. Drop your answers below. I read every single comment, and I will do my best to reply to as many as I can. If this video helped you, hit that like button and share it with a friend or brother who needs to hear this. And if you're not subscribed to Healthy Aging yet, now is the time. We put out content every week that is backed by real science, designed for real men, and focused on helping you live longer, stronger, and with more independence. Thank you for watching. Take care of your hands, gentlemen. They are trying to tell you something. I will see you in the next one.